A 15-year-old swimmer gets up at 5 a.m., trains 16 hours a week, and now his family can't afford his championship suits. So I offered to pay for everything. But here's where it gets messy. My aunt says if I pay for him, I have to pay for his sister's dance, cheer, and art too. Another cousin wants the same deal. Wait, I have 31st cousins. I can't pay for everyone. So am I the jerk for helping one kid chase a dance scholarship? Or is my family being totally unreasonable? Let's get into it. Okay, so here's the setup. This person, let's call her Op. She and her husband are pretty well off. Not like crazy billionaire rich, but comfortable. Meanwhile, a lot of her extended family, they're struggling. Not starving or anything, just cutting corners, you know. And Op grew up really close with all these cousins, so she sees it firsthand. Then there's Dion. He's 15, and this kid, man, he lives and breathes swimming. Like he's been in the pool since he was 4. Practices 16 hours a week. Gets up at 5 in the morning most days. That's dedication. And he's good, really good. Already getting attention from Dunn College coaches. There's a real chance he could get a scholarship. But here's the problem. Swimming at this level, it's expensive. We're talking technical suits that cost hundreds of dollars, and he needs those for championship meets. Travel, hotels, you name it. His parents have been scraping by, but now they just can't keep up. The coach even offered to waive the club fees, but that's not enough. There's all these other costs, so Op steps up. She offers to pay for all of Dion's swim expenses. And the parents, they're grateful. They say yes. So far, so good, right? Wait, that's when the drama starts. Op's aunt finds out, and she says, I'm quoting basically, if you're going to pay for Dion to keep his sport, you need to pay for his sisters too. The sisters do dance, cheerleading, and art. And the aunt is serious. She thinks it's only fair, but it gets worse. Another cousin jumps in, says Op shouldn't pay for one cousin's child without paying for hers as well. And here's the thing, Op has about 30 first cousins. 30. She can't pay for everyone. That's just not realistic. And look, I get it. On the surface, the aunt's argument sounds kind of reasonable, right? Like, why should one kid get all this help while the others get nothing? But Op sees it differently. She points out that Dion is on another level. He's not just doing a hobby. He's training like an athlete. He has a real shot at a college scholarship. The other kids, they're talented in their own way, sure, but they're not as serious, not as committed, and their activities don't have the same kind of long-term payoff. But Op is worried. And honestly, it's a really human worry. She doesn't want the kids, especially Dion's sisters, to think she likes Dion more. She doesn't want them to feel less valuable. She even says, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't want to make it seem like what he does is more worthwhile or that he matters more just because he's male. That's a real concern, and it's not coming from a bad place. She genuinely cares. At the same time, is it fair to expect her to fund every single kid's activity just because she helped one? I mean, that could get out of control really fast. And it's not like she's picking favorites for no reason. Dion's situation was urgent. His family was about to have to pull him from the only thing he's ever truly loved. The sisters, their activities weren't at risk the same way. They weren't about to lose dance or cheer because of financial collapse. It was more about perceived fairness. So Op is stuck. She wants to help. She already is helping. But now her family is turning it into this huge thing. And she's asking herself, and the internet, the big question, am I the a-hole? Because on one hand, yeah, it does look like favoritism. The other kids might feel hurt, and that sucks. No one wants to be the reason a kid feels less than. But on the other hand, she didn't set out to create drama. She just saw a hardworking kid on the edge of losing his dream, and she offered a hand. Is that really wrong? I don't know. Let's see what the internet had to say about it. So the internet had thoughts, and honestly, they did not hold back. The first thing everyone zeroed in on, and I mean everyone, was this. Why did anyone outside Dion's parents even need to know about the money? Like, who told the aunt? Who told the other cousins? Because if you think about it, this whole mess started because word got out. And once it did, suddenly everyone had an opinion on how Op should spend her own cash. One commenter, Kabam, put it perfectly. Not the a-hole, But why did anyone outside of Dion's parents need to know that you were doing this? And then someone else, Dopey, responded with the most real answer ever. Because my family has a collective big mouth. I mean, hasn't that happened to all of us? You tell one person something in confidence, and next thing you know, your grandma's calling you from 3 states away. Then there was this comment from Dramatic Paramedic 79, and yeah, that username alone is amazing. They said, first off, your cousin is an a-hole for telling anyone but the kid that you are doing this. But then they went further. They said Op should call this a family scholarship. Like, you're not just throwing money at a favorite nephew. You're sponsoring the one kid who earned it through hard work and commitment. And they added, and I love this part, that's how life works. Not everyone wins, but through struggles and hard work, they may get recognized and move forward. Ouch, that's blunt, but kind of true, right? Dramatic Paramedic didn't stop there. They said Op owes no one's child a free ride, and she's not responsible for sponsoring every single kid. The aunt, they called her a troublemaking busybody who needs to, let's just say, go away. I'm cleaning that up for YouTube, but you get the idea. Then Lady Mittens of the Lake chimed in. Again, amazing username. She made a really sharp point. This isn't just paying for an activity. It's an investment in his future, because Dion is already being looked at by done coaches. His club coach is waiving fees just to keep him in the pool. That's not normal, that's special. The other cousins, they have regular extracurriculars like every other kid, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not the same thing. Another commenter, hello all, goodbye all, said Op isn't paying out of favoritism, she's investing. And if anyone complains, they're welcome to pay for the other kids themselves. End of story. And here's the thing that really stuck with me. One of the comments said, not everyone wins, but through struggles and hard work, they may get recognized. That's not cruel, that's just reality. Dion put in the 5 a.m. practices, the 16-hour weeks, the sacrifices. And now someone sees that and wants to help. That's not unfair, that's actually kind of beautiful when you think about it. The internet basically agreed, Op is not the a-hole, not even close. She's not picking a favorite just because. She's recognizing dedication. And if the other kids want that kind of support someday, then they need to find that same level of passion and put in that same kind of work. But there was also a softer side to the comments. Some people acknowledged that, yeah, it's going to hurt the sisters' feelings, and that's valid. Kids don't always understand the difference between money spent on one sibling versus another, but that's a parenting conversation. That's not Op's job to fix by writing a blank check to everyone. So the consensus, help Dion, keep helping Dion, and tell the rest of the family to mind their own business. Blunt, yeah, human. Absolutely, but here's the thing, Op wasn't just worried about the adults. She was worried about the kids, and honestly, that's what made me pause. She said in the comments, and I'm paraphrasing, I don't want the kids thinking I like Dion more than the others. He's a boy who competes in a sport, and his sisters dance, cheerlead, and draw. I don't want to make it seem like what he does is more worthwhile, or that he matters more because he's male. That's a really thoughtful concern. Because yeah, on the surface it could look bad. Like, oh, the boy gets all this money for his sport, but the girls just get what? Nothing. And Op didn't want to accidentally send that message. But then, the update came. And this is where the story takes a turn. Op had a talk with Dion's parents over the weekend, and what they told her kind of changed everything. So get this. The parents could actually afford their daughter's activities, like easily. The dance classes, the cheerleading, the art lessons, none of that was breaking the bank. The real problem was Dion. He just qualified for national meets and the costs were about to skyrocket. Travel, hotels, the really expensive suits. That's what they couldn't handle. But here's where it gets weird. The parents thought it would be more fair to cancel activities for all 3 of their kids rather than have just one miss out. Wait, what? I mean, I get the instinct. You don't want anyone feeling left out, but canceling everything instead of figuring something out, that's a choice. So the parents were basically going to pull Dion from the thing he's been obsessed with since he was 2 years old, the thing he's genuinely amazing at, just so the numbers looked equal on paper. And that's when Op stepped in. Now, here's the part that made me laugh a little, not gonna lie. How did the whole family find out? Because of course they did. Small town, big mouths, right? But the actual story is even better. The oldest daughter, one of the sisters, got curious. She snooped through the family's budget ledger, like a teenager going through the finances, and she saw how much more was being spent on Dion compared to her and her sisters. So she told them. And then, because that wasn't dramatic enough, she showed their grandmother. And the grandma, oh, the grandma is described as a lovely person, but a notorious busybody. I love that phrasing. Once she saw the numbers, she told the rest of the family. And that's when the comparisons started, and the guilt trips, and the aunt demanding pageant money for her 4-year-old. It all snowballed from one nosy teenager and one chatty grandma. But here's the thing that Op really wanted people to understand. The girls aren't bad kids. They're not spoiled or entitled. They're just young. They don't fully get that fairness doesn't always mean everyone gets the exact same dollar amount. Their parents have always divided things based on need, not equal spending. Dion's swimming just happens to be more expensive right now. And it's not like the girls are ignored. Actually, Op pointed out that 2 of them probably get more attention than Dion does. One of them was sick a lot as a child and still gets extra care. The oldest is outgoing and always in the spotlight with cheer. Dion and the youngest are quieter, more introverted. They stay in the background. So it's not a case of golden child versus forgotten siblings. It's just life. Different kids need different things at different times. And honestly, most of the extended family who knew about this, they were on Dion's side. Some even offered to pitch in what little they could to help keep him swimming. But Op said no to that, because those people don't have any more money than Dion's parents. It's not their job to make things fair. The real troublemakers. The grandma and one of her daughters, the aunt with the pageant daughter. That's it. 2 people stirring up drama for everyone else. So Op's fear about looking like she valued Dion more because he's male, that was real and valid. But the actual situation was way more complicated. And once the parents cleared things up, it became clear the sisters weren't losing anything. They were going to keep dance, cheer, and art. And Dion was going to keep swimming. Everyone wins, except maybe the aunt. She's still mad about the pageant dresses. So here's where we land. And honestly, it's kind of heartwarming if you ignore the 2 people causing all the trouble. Turns out most of Op's extended family, the ones who actually know what's going on, are totally on Dion's side. Like overwhelmingly. They think he should keep swimming at all costs. And get this, some of them even offered to pitch in their own money to help. These aren't wealthy people. They don't have any more than Dion's parents do. But they saw a kid with a real future and wanted to help. That's actually really sweet. Op didn't take their money, by the way. She didn't need to. But the offer alone says a lot. Now, the troublemakers. There are 2. The grandma, a lovely person but a notorious busybody, remember, and one of her daughters, the aunt. That's it, 2 people. And here's why the aunt is really stirring the pot. She has a daughter, a 4-year-old, who just got into pageants. And pageants are expensive. We're talking $500 dresses for a preschooler. The aunt and the grandma think that if Op is paying for Dion's swimming, she should also pay for the 4-year-old's pageant expenses. I'm going to let that sink in. Op's response. She said, and I'm paraphrasing, I just don't see the same value in buying $500 dresses for a 4-year-old as I do in supporting a dedicated athlete. Yeah, she said no. And now the aunt and grandma are angry with her. But here's the thing Op made really clear. She's not against helping other kids. She said, and this is important, if one of the girls ever gets truly passionate about something that requires a bigger investment, I'd be more than happy to help. She just doesn't believe in punishing dedication just to make the numbers match. And that's the core of it, right? This was never about favoritism. It was never about the boy being more important than the girls. It was about one kid who found something he loves more than anything, who works his tail off, who has a real shot at a scholarship. And he was about to lose it all because his parents thought fair meant everyone loses something. So what's the resolution? Dion keeps swimming. His sisters keep dance, cheerleading, and art. Everyone gets to do what they love. the parents figured out they didn't have to cancel anything. And she learned a valuable lesson about family drama. You can't please everyone, and sometimes the loudest complainers are just wrong. She said it best herself. She comes from a huge family, and there's never a time when everyone agrees on anything. So this will probably blow over eventually. And if it doesn't, well, she can always just ignore the annoying ones. The good news is Dion gets to keep chasing his dream. The sisters get to keep their hobbies. And gets to feel good about helping without being guilted into funding a 4-year-old's pageant wardrobe. I'd call that a win. Okay, quick palate cleanser. Different story, same chaotic energy. So there's this guy, Trey, works in an office. Secret Santa season rolls around, and Trey says, "Hey, can I just buy someone a gift and not get one? I don't want more clutter in my house." The host, who's run this thing for years, says no. That's not how the game works. Someone's gonna draw your name. They're gonna want to get you something. You either play or you don't. There's no in-between, but Trey keeps pushing. He really wants to give. He just doesn't want to receive. Another coworker overhears and says, "Dude, just let him. Throw a random name in the hat. Someone gets an unexpected gift. Problem solved." The host hates the idea, but he says he'll think about it. So the internet weighs in, and one commenter had the perfect solution. Tell Trey to ask for a donation to a charity instead of a gift, or to the office kitchen fund. Someone else said their office did a toy version, then donated everything to a toy drive. Genius, right? But here's the real twist. The host finally explains why he's so stressed. He didn't even want to run Secret Santa this year. His coworkers pressured him into it because no one else would organize it. He's extremely busy at work, and the company is shutting down on December 31st. This is the last time they'll all be together. So what happened? They compromised. The host told Trey to find someone on his own who's willing to receive a gift without giving one. Handle the logistics himself, and then Trey can play. The lesson: sometimes you gotta bend the rules a little, not break them. Just bend, because at the end of the day, it's about people, not policies. And hey, the company's closing anyway. Might as well go out with some goodwill. All right, one more before we wrap up. And this one's just delightful. Back in the 1970s, this guy's dad worked as a postman for the Royal Mail in Britain. And like a lot of guys back then, he had long hair, like below his shoulders long. His manager didn't like it, told him he needed to either cut it or tie it up. Standard workplace dress code stuff, right? So the postman goes home, tells his wife, and she's like, "Oh, I got you." The next morning, she gets up early, and she ties his hair up for him in the most adorable pigtails you've ever seen, with lovely pink ribbons. He walks into work, sees his manager, says, "Morning, tied my hair up just like you asked." And then he just goes off to deliver the mail, wearing pink ribbon pigtails for an entire week. And here's the best part. After that week, he comes in with his hair down again, and no one, not once, ever complained about his hair again. They got exactly what they asked for, and they immediately regretted it. Honestly, that's the energy we all need in 2026. Malicious compliance with a side of pink ribbons. Love it. Okay, let's get to the end of the video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me through all these stories. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Hit subscribe if you want more of this kind of stuff. I've got plenty more where these came from. You might like the one about the neighbor who stole a package, or the roommate who vacuumed at 2 a.m. Go check them out. All right, I'll see you in the next one.